Okay, I'm still at the grinding table. I put a block here with, it's just a stud and a nut to hold my part. I cut the tubes, and then I set the height of this one. I've got it set to 1.5 inches high from there up to the top. I put some flux on it. I'm going to take and put it on here carefully, and I'm going to feed the solder in from the inside, and hopefully it won't leach through too much to the outside. I'm going to use my little torch again, and we're going to heat it up and see if we can't get this solder together here. I'm going to heat it up first. Oh, shoot! I was afraid that that was going to happen. Well, I'm going to double check the height of this. I'll let it cool first. Okay. It's a little hot. Was just about ready to put the solder to her. Put more flux on the end of this. I put some more flux on that end. And I want to set it 1.5 inches up. Well, this isn't all that critical, I don't think either, but try to get it close. It doesn't want to stay. Let's see if I can see where I'm at. That's pretty good right there. If it'll stay. Try it again. See if I can get her hot. And then feed some solder into it. Don't bump it. I can always cut the top off, I guess. I think it ran all the way around. I think the solder ran all the way around the tube, I believe. Let it cool here a little bit. I don't have air in my air compressor either. Not much anyway, where I can cool it off. Let's see if that cools off enough to handle it. Oh yeah. Yep, it ran all the way around. If you, I don't know if it's going to focus on it, but you can see the solder on the outside just barely all the way around it. So, oh, all except for the top here. Doesn't look like the top got any. Let me look here. I'm not sure. Nope, top didn't get any. So I'm going to tip it like this again and heat it up. Try to get it to run around to the top. I don't want it to leak. So we'll heat it up again. Yeah, solder will flow toward the heat, so if I heat it on that top side, it should flow down there. If there's enough. Yeah, it flowed down there, I believe now. Might have made a mess. I got got more solder showing than I wanted. Running out of air. Plug the air compressor in today. Yeah, it ran a little more than what I wanted around there, around the outside. But it doesn't look too bad. I know it's not going to leak now. So now we got to do the plate. Solder this down on the plate. Okay, I'm going to solder the base onto the tube that we got soldered up. And first thing I did was clean up the surface, get the oxidation off, and I'm going to do the inside. I'm just going to take some emery paper and scrub the inside so it's nice and cleaned up. The solder don't stick too well or run to the stuff that's oxidized. You know what I mean. And what I want to do is I want to clamp that on so I can get heat in underneath and heat that plate up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put a piece of scrap metal over here. I'm just going to put a piece of scrap steel, and I'm going to clamp this to that piece of steel. I don't want to heat up my little table on my sander here. Then get this clamped on here, and that'll sit on there like that. Let's try the other side. The furnace shut off. 13 below zero here this morning. Alright, so that'll sit on there like that. Yeah, I like that side better. So I scrubbed the inside. Now what I want to do is I want to lay some solder around in there. And I found the easiest way to do that is just grab something that's close to this diameter minus the solder thickness. It doesn't have to be exact, just close. And I have this is just an old hydraulic lifter. And what I do is I take the solder and I put 2 wraps. One and around to the... This is just to kind of form the solder into a loop. And then I get an X-Acto knife from over here and we'll cut it off. Cut the solder off. And then we'll just kind of take it and twist it and form it around that, what we've got here. And once you get it all formed up, and just lay that down about where it's going to be. And now I want to put some flux. I'm just going to use a Q-tip. I want to put some flux around this. I'm just putting a little layer of flux around all the way around, and make sure that it's coated all the way around. All right, once you got that, once I got flux all the way around that, got the ring of solder, and carefully lay the part over that. Looks like it's, and then position it and get it all positioned the way you want. And solder is going to flow to the heat, so now we're going to just take and heat it up until the solder melts. And we're going to heat both parts up. I'm going to heat the tube and the bottom plate. solder hasn't melted yet. I can see down in the inside when the solder melts. And like I say, the solder will actually flow to the heat. Alright, starting to melt. It's formed, it's formed a nice little bead around one side. I'm just making sure that this, because like I say, the solder will flow to the heat and going around the outside of it. So there it is. Now I just gotta let it sit there and cool a little bit. After it's cooled down here, after it's cooled down, we'll put some alcohol in it, make sure that it's all good to go. We got a bottle of alcohol here. This is just denatured alcohol. I think it's cooled off enough to where we can put a little in there and see if it leaks. We want to make sure everything's not leaking. And we have a leak somewhere, so I'll have to dump it back out, heat it back up, and try to see where either we have a leak or I spilled it on the outside. I'm looking here. Let me take a look at the outside of this. Yeah, I think it's right here. So I'm just going to clamp this back up. The solder's already in there. It's going to flow to where I heat it up. So I'm just going to heat it up again. I'm not going to put any more solder in there. I'm just going to reheat it. Try to get that solder to flow over there. Okay, oops. The back side here is where I didn't quite get enough heat. Alright, let's try that again. Let it cool. I'm just blowing on it. Alright, now I'll give her a little bit and see if it's cooled off enough. Right, that time I spilled it on the outside, so I'll just take a napkin here and wipe it off. I filled it almost full, so that way I can see if it's leaking at all. Nope, doesn't look like it. Looks like we got her. Yep. So we've got that all sealed up. No leaks. So now we're going to put a wick in there. I'm going to dump this out. I'm splashing it out here. Dump that back in the bottle. And we're going to put a wick in that. And what I've got is I have some cotton clothesline rope, basically, is what it is. And I nipped the end of it off here. So hopefully I can push that into the tube. It's going to be a tight fit. think it's going. There we go. It's going now. And what I'm going to do is, I like to put enough wick in there to make several loops on the burners that I've done before for my Stirling engines and such. Make it so that you don't have to put so much alcohol in them. Because I make it like the old Zippo lighter. And I've actually took the burners for one of my Stirling engines and filled it with cotton around the wick so that I didn't have to put, just dampen it, and it'll run for quite a while just dampening it. And now you can see there's a substantial amount of rope down in the bottom there. And all I'm going to do is take and nip it off with my, I'm just going to leave a little bit hang out. I don't know how big a flame I'm going to need for those engines. And let's just put some alcohol in it, and I'm going to put my finger over the top and just kind of so that the wick gets wet all the way to the top. Wipe that up, or I'll have a flame outside everything. Plus, keep the flame away from the top. And let's just see how big a flame that is with that little bit of a wick. I don't know, that looks pretty good. So now we need to make the tops. I'm just going to make them out of aluminum with a ventol. Blow that out before I have fire where I don't want fire. And got to do that 3 more times to the other 3, and I'll have the burners done. I'll take a buffer and my buffer and some Jeweler's Rouge and clean them up after I get all done. Like I say, I gotta make the tops for them yet. So anyway, that's how I solder it together. You can, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but you can see it just bled through, and over here it bled through a little bit more than what I wanted. But when I go in and Jeweler's Rouge will take some of that out of there and clean it up anyway. I think it looks pretty good. So anyway, I put the nickel plate down. I'm not sure if solder will stick to that nickel plating or not. I've never tried to. So anyway, that's going to be it until I work on the caps. I'm going to go ahead and do the other 3 the same way, and then when I come back to do the caps, I'll come back and I'll probably video that. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys later. Okay, here's the finished. I started to clean them up a little bit. I haven't made the caps yet, but I have all 4 of them here all soldered together, and they don't look too bad. So now I'm just going to go ahead and make the caps for them. Plus, like I say, I start cleaning them up. I started on this one right here, cleaning it up a little bit. I'll continue to clean it up a little bit with my little buffer, and then like I say, I'm going to make the tops. I'll probably do that this afternoon, and I'll finish these up this afternoon maybe, and then I'm waiting for spring material. So when that comes in, I don't know. I ordered it from McMaster Car. I ordered some 11 thousandths piano wire, spring wire. I didn't have anything close. I had 20 something. I made a couple of springs, and put it on one of them, and yeah, it's too heavy. It's too heavy of a spring. So once I get the springs in, then I'm going to continue and get them all put together, and then we'll work on trying to get them to run. Until then, we'll catch you later.